Good morning, Canadian job seekers. Today I am going to discuss with you about an important topic. It is about how to clear the intro round successfully. Now, what is this intro round? Who conducts this? This all I'll be discussing in the video that is coming now. I'm sort of planned this video in a presentation mode, so keep watching it. So let's get started. In this video, I'm going to explain to you on how to handle the intro rounds. Okay, so generally these intro rounds are done by recruiters, HRs, and hiring managers. I'll discuss with you further. But intro round is considered to be the very first step in your job search, which means you need to handle it very carefully. If you do not clear this intro round, you will not be able to go past the subsequent rounds. So even though this looks very simple, but this is very important. Before I get started with the actual topic, I wanted to tell you for whom is this video applicable. Okay, this video is specifically made for job seekers who are searching for IT jobs and who are physically living in Canada. So for all the rest of the people, this video might not be applicable. So first of all, we need to understand what is this intro round and what is involved here. Okay, so this intro round is generally conducted mostly by recruiters and the HRs to qualify if you're really serious about the job search. They wanted to know if you're really serious. They wanted to know if your skills are a right fit to the skills mentioned in the JD. They wanted to know if you are in the budget of their if you are in their budget range, and if you have sufficient experience or not, and if you have very good communication skills and leadership skills depending on the role. So basically it's called as a qualification round. They wanted to qualify if you are a good fit for the role, kind of matchmaking, I would say. And some people call it as a vendor call also. I call it intro call, but you can call it whatever way you want. Generally, these intro rounds are taken by three sets of people. One is a recruiter from the recruitment agencies and the HRs of the companies who call you, and sometimes even the hiring managers who are generally non-technical in nature. They call you directly. But it need not be necessary that hiring manager is always non-technical. There are so many technical hiring managers also, but generally if he's a non-technical manager, he generally calls you. So if they are the people who are going to conduct intro rounds, when will they call? Okay, sometimes the recruiters and HRs can call you directly ad hoc without any notice. Sometimes they call you and take your time, and then they schedule a call with you because they wanted to spend 15 to 20 minutes trying to understand you. So it can be both ad hoc and scheduled one. So you have to be prepared for both of them. So what is the preparation that we need to get this intro round done? So for ad hoc call, we need not do any preparation, but of course, if you prepare your elevator pitch, that is good, but we don't have any other chance to prepare for the intro rounds. But if it is a scheduled intro round, you need to do some preparation. One is you have to study about the company before attending the meeting, period. So you need to understand which company's job you are talking about. So they wanted to test whether you really understand the company and if you like the company or not. And when you are doing some research about the company, make sure you ask some questions. Note down some questions and you can ask them during the interview. And of course, you prepare well with your elevator pitch. What is this elevator pitch? It's all about telling about yourself. So I'll do a video about this elevator pitch in the next set of videos, but I won't cover in detail about this. But elevator pitch means telling about yourself. And always keep your resume handy in front of you, because that will help you ensure that you don't forget anything. And of course, as usual, um, dress neat and professional. Um, so I have organized this presentation in a series of bullet points. What question will they ask and what answer that you have to tell. These are all my opinions, and these can be right or wrong, but based on my past experience of mentoring 150 plus people towards successful job search, I have compiled these points. So the first question generally they ask is about telling about yourself. So this is where your elevator pitch comes into picture. So as I told you, elevator pitch is about telling about yourself. Okay, I am so and so Ram Babu Vasapilli. I have been doing DevOps engineering work for the past few years, and currently I am working in some XYZ company. And earlier I have worked with so and so company, and I have done this, that. So you have to explain them in a way that it impresses them. By the elevator pitch, they should be knowing where you have worked, how much of experience you have, and what kind of activities you have done. I'll do a more detailed video about this in future, but this is the first question they ask, and this is the first step you need to cross. And then the next question they ask is, they will ask why you are looking for a job change, because they wanted to know what are the actual reasons for you that triggered for a job change. One way is they also wanted to check if you're really serious or you're just trying to test your luck. So you have to know whether you are a full-time role or a contract role. Of course, you'll be knowing, but the answer you have, if it is a full-time job, then you can say that you have wanted to learn more things, and looking to get better pay. But if you are a contract job, tell them that your contract is coming to an end, and that's the reason why you wanted to look for a job change. Alternatively, you can also say, hey, I'm looking for a better work and better pay. So there is nothing like a right answer for this, but don't be negative. Don't say, oh, I'm planning to move to the new job because my manager is very bad. Don't try to put negative things in mind, but just try to give some positive reasons. And the next question is, if you say that you're looking for a better rate in the contract, they will immediately ask, well, when is the contract ending? And you can always say that the contract is coming to an end of the month. Even if it is first of the month, tell them end of the month. Even if it is 30th of the month, tell them that end of the month. The reason is we just don't want to give some ad hoc answers, because anyway, to conduct interviews and to give job offer, it generally takes the whole month. It won't happen pretty immediately in Canada. So when you say about the previous question they ask, when are you available? So in Canada, our standard notice period is 2 weeks. So you can always say, okay, I'm available at a 2 weeks notice, or my notice period is 2 weeks, if you are really working in a job. But if you are not working in a job currently, then you can always say, hey, I'm available immediate. So in fact, when you say if you are available immediate, recruiters would be more motivated to get you into the interview fast, because they know that you are not having any job and you can join immediately. The next question they ask is, what is your expected pay? So this is very tricky. You have to be very well prepared for this question. So generally, always ask up to 20% of increase, because they will negotiate it. It might come down to 10 to 15%. But keep that clarity in your mind. on how much is the expected salary you wanted to ask. Without that clarity, you will end up in not getting good deal. So if you are a full-time job, you can say, hey, I'm drawing some X CAD per annum and I'm expecting some X plus Y kind of CAD per annum. Or if you are in a contract role, you can say, hey, I'm drawing some $70 an hour, I'm looking for some $80 an hour. So, but be prepared with the rate. That clarity you should have on day one itself. So obviously, when you quote your expected pay, they will ask you, hey, are you flexible? Because they always wanted to get good deal. So you can always say you are flexible. Don't be rigid. Don't say you're not flexible, because that will end up as a deal breaker. So add that buffer in your expected pay itself, and then you tell them you are flexible. So that will help you to proceed forward with the further discussion. And then they will ask, if it is not for a specific role, but if they are calling you to, you know, prepare a bench, then they will ask whether you are looking for a full-time role or a contract role. And the answer is, you can always tell them that you are looking for uh, you know, either full-time or part-time. I mean, tell them that you are okay with any one of that. Don't tell them that you're looking only for full-time role, or don't tell them that you're looking for only contract role. Even if you're looking for only one of them, tell them that you are flexible. We will look at it when you reach the offer stage, whether you wish to join or not. But why to spoil the chance to attend an interview and to get a psychological confidence of clearing an interview, right? So hope you understand. So always tell them that you are flexible, you are okay with full-time role or a contract role, and you can adapt to any of the structure. And then when you say you're incorporated, another question they ask is, are you incorporated? So many people ask me, what does it mean? Like, are you incorporated? Incorporation means the contract cannot be done on a person's name. So it has to be on a corporation name. So it's called as C2C, corp to corp. So ideally, the independent contractor has to have a corporation. So if you have your own corporation, you can say that, yeah, I'm incorporated, I am the director of my corporation. But if you don't have your own incorporation, you can still say you're unincorporated and you're part of your friend's corporation and you're one of the directors. And make sure you are part of your friend's corporation well before you start doing the job search, or immediately after getting the contract role. But be prepared, but because when once you get the contract role to do, you cannot tell them that you don't have any corporation. Then the next standard question they ask is, what is your work authorization in Canada? Work authorization means, do you have proper visa which allows you to work in Canada? Like there are so many visas, right? So if you are a PR, you can tell them that you are a PR in Canada and it allows you to work. If you are on a work permit, tell them that you are on an open work permit or a postgraduate work permit, and specifically tell them when is it going to an end. That gives them the confidence. Don't make them ask, okay, when is it ending? Instead, proactively tell them, hey, I'm on an open work permit and my work permit is valid till 2025 or 2026, whatever the actual date is. Do not try to lie here, because they will definitely ask you to send the document for evidence, which is quite normal, and you should be sending them the document for evidence, because unless and until they confirm that you have the proper work authorization, they do not want to proceed forward. It is a minimum due diligence they do these days. And of course, you are a Canadian citizen, you can send your Canadian passport copy to prove that you are a Canadian citizen. And then, as I told you, they will ask you to send a work authorization copy. You can send a scanned copy of your PR card or a Canadian passport or a work permit copy. And the next 2 points are very tricky. Okay, so sometimes some of the recruiters, after going through your resume, they feel that your resume might be lacking some points which will avoid getting your resume picked up by the application tracking software. So they generally ask to make some updates to the resume. While some people debate on this, but my personal preference is I always want to make a generic resume, and I wanted to keep it very simple, which can satisfy the needs of all the job roles instead of making updates when and where the recruiters ask for. Because if you keep making updates to the resume, you will not have any control on your resume. You won't even know what updates you have done for which recruiter. Okay, so when you attend the interview, then you will put some point which you might not know, or you might remove some points which you have already known. So it will mess up the whole situation. So my personal advice is you can tell the recruiter, hey, I'm not comfortable making the updates to the resume. Can you submit it as is? Some recruiters may agree and some recruiters might not agree. But if they say, hey, we cannot submit the resume without these updates, you can tell them, yeah, that's okay, but you can still be affirmed that you are not comfortable making the updates to the resume. Again, this is debatable, but this is my personal advice. And the next, again, a debatable question is, can you send some references? So this is a very tricky situation. Generally, recruiters ask you to send references as if they wanted to check your references before submitting the application. Some people do it, like if it is a government job, like 10% of the jobs, they generally ask for references. They check for references before submitting the application, but 90% of the recruiters don't really need these references to submit your job to the next level. But still they ask because they wanted to get some manager references so that they can do some business out of it, get some leads out of it. But it is not really mandatory to give the manager references. So you can respectfully say, hey, I'm not comfortable sharing the references now, but I would be glad to share the references when we reach the offer stage. So you can respectfully tell that. Again, they will say, hey, without the references, I'll not be able to submit your application. You can say, yeah, that's okay. If that is the process you have, I respect that, but you can still be firm saying that you're not comfortable sharing your references. And trust me, even if you say you're not comfortable, they will still submit your application, because they also don't want to lose a genuine candidate. They just try their luck by asking for references. And the next question is, if the location of the job is different to where you are living, then they might ask you, are you willing to relocate? Again, whether you are willing to relocate or not, tell them that you are always willing to relocate. You always give them a positive feel that you are flexible. Um, we will decide whether you really want to relocate or not when once you reach the offer stage. But you don't need to tell them now. So tell them that you are willing to relocate. And the next optional question they ask is whether you have security clearance. This question is not asked by many of the recruiters in the intro rounds, but sometimes they ask. But I wanted to cover it in this presentation. So if they ask if you have security clearance, you can say, hey, I do have security clearance, or I don't have security clearance. They might ask you, are you comfortable with background check? You can say that you're always comfortable with background check. This shows them how genuine you are. And there are lots of security clearances: reliability, level 1, level 2, top secret clearance, so many security clearances. I'll do a separate video on this later. But tell them if you have it, tell them you have it. If you don't have it, tell them you don't have it. Generally, if you don't have it, the recruitment agencies will sponsor you to do the security clearance. This is mostly asked in the government jobs, but not in the other companies. And the other question they ask is if you have any offers on hand. Okay, so again, even if you have so many offers on hand, tell them that you don't have any offer on hand. Because if you tell them that you have an offer on hand, the interview will not proceed forward to the next level. because they don't want to waste their time. So that's why you have to tell them you don't have offer on hand. But how long you have to tell that? Tell them that you don't have offer on hand only till you join the job. But when once you join a job, do not try to again waste recruiter's time or your time telling you don't have any offer on hand. Okay. Again, when once you get multiple offers, you can decide which company to go for. So you will have multiple options, multiple pay structures. You can decide. You will have better say than the recruiter. And there are some other standard questions they ask just to get some confirmation out of you, like what are you looking for in a company. Generally, this question can be asked either at the end of the uh, interview or at the beginning of the interview. You can say the standard answer like you are looking for a good environment, better, more challenging work, and obviously better pay. Okay, do not tell them that you don't like your current manager and all. So always keep it positive. And are you comfortable working with a startup? This is generally asked by recruiters who are vouching for candidates for a startup. Yes, you can tell them that you are comfortable working for a startup. See, in Canada, whether irrespective of the size of the company, as long as the company pays, it should be still okay. Don't fell into the trap of brand of the company. It's a myth. Even startups pay very in fact, many of the startups pay better than big companies. So tell them that you are flexible to work only even in the startup, and you tell them what is the reason you wanted. Working with a startup will make any career path growth, and tell them why you like the startup. I mentioned some reason and a write up in my slide, so you can study that. And there are some follow-up activities. If they really like your profile, they will ask you to do some follow-up activities, like they will some recruiters will send you a skill matrix, and they ask you to fill it. You can tell them that as soon as the call is done and as soon as you receive it, you will fill it and send it back, and send it back the same day after filling it. Do not try to waste the time in doing it tomorrow. Do it at the same day. That is the best practice. Okay, and another thing is RTR, right to represent. This is an important step. This is the last step before submitting your application to the hiring manager. So without your consent, they cannot submit your application. So they ask you to send an RTR. So they will send you some standard write-up, and they ask you to confirm or fill in that write-up. So again, you have to do it on the very same day. Do not try to postpone it to the next day, because without you finishing this and the skill matrix, they will not be able to submit your application to the hiring manager. Yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in this video. Hope you liked it. Um, you have understood what is an intro round, who conducts it, and when you will get those intro rounds done, and what kind of questions they will ask in these intro rounds, and what kind of answers you should be telling them, and so on. So if you still have any questions, feel free to post your comments in this video, and I'll be able to make uh, some videos if there are too many questions on a particular subject, or I will be answering you with an answer video. So feel free to like, share, and follow my YouTube channel and CPL Media, where I'll be posting videos like this. Thank you. Bye.